I probably enjoyed playing Mr. Bean the most because he's a character who's furthest away from my own character. As a person, I don't like him at all. I think he's very odd and pretty weird and not very nice.
372, 72. Blue, 3-2, 32.
Yeah, the thing I find most tricky is when people don't recognize you particularly, but half recognize you.
Should I come in through the window? Possibly. Should I drop down from the ceiling? Perhaps.
At 70, Rowan Atkinson, known worldwide as Mr. Bean, has finally addressed something fans have wondered about for years, and what he revealed caught everyone off guard. After decades of global fame, physical comedy, personal struggle, and unexpected reinventions, he chose this moment to speak clearly about a truth many suspected but never heard confirmed. His life behind the scenes has always been more complex than the silent character he created, and now, for the first time, he's pulling back the curtain. What did he finally admit? Let's take a closer look. The shy child who transformed. Rowan Sebastian Atkinson was born in Consett, a quiet town in County Durham. He was the youngest of 4 boys, but tragedy struck early. His oldest brother, Paul, died as a baby. Rowan grew up with his 2 remaining brothers, including Rodney, who later became an economist and nearly led the UK Independence Party in 2000. His childhood on the family farm was strict and quiet. No one imagined the silent, serious boy would one day play loud, bizarre characters. Around age 5, Rowan developed a heavy stutter, making speaking difficult, and school even harder. At Durham Chorister School, he faced severe bullying. Canon John Grove described him as a shy boy with a rubbery face and a speech problem. Some classmates mocked his looks and speech, calling him an alien. Rowan often stayed alone. One younger schoolmate, Tony Blair, later recalled how tough things were for Rowan. The bullying was so intense that a 2007 Independent article revisited it. Yet something remarkable happened on stage. Rowan's stutter vanished. Performing allowed him to speak freely, turning a painful struggle into the foundation of his talent. Despite social challenges, Rowan excelled academically. He earned top grades in science A-levels and entered Newcastle University in 1973 to study electrical and electronic engineering. People assumed he was headed for a career in science, not comedy. He graduated in 1975 at age 20, then pursued a master's degree at the Queen's College, Oxford. His MSc focused on self-tuning control systems, a complex field. He began a PhD but left before finishing, pulled toward something else. According to his teacher, Chris Robson, Rowan didn't stand out in class, but once on stage, he changed completely. That transformation marked the beginning of his true direction. In 1975 at Oxford, Rowan joined the drama club and a review group called The Etc. There he met writer Richard Curtis, who would become his long-term creative partner. Curtis first saw Rowan at a rehearsal in 1976, a quiet, funny-looking guy in the corner. But when Rowan performed, he was stunned. Rowan's driving sketch and a routine combining speaking and mime impressed Curtis so much that he called it pure genius. Later that year, Rowan performed with the Oxford Revue at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, his first major public stage appearance. The success confirmed he was more than an engineer. He was a performer at heart. Although he completed his engineering thesis in 1978, acting kept pulling him forward. His technical background stayed with him, influencing later interests like hybrid and electric cars, which he adopted earlier than most celebrities. But in the end, the stage, not engineering, became where Rowan truly belonged. The breakthrough before the breakout. Rowan's first major step came in 1979 with The Atkinson People, a radio show he created for BBC Radio 3. He performed multiple fictional characters, such as Sir Corin Basin and French philosopher Georges Dupont. Richard Curtis co-wrote the material, and Griff Rhys-Jones produced it. Although smart and well-crafted, it aired in a time slot that didn't suit comedy, so few listeners heard it. Still, critics noticed his talent, and its stereo format, similar to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, showed ambition. It didn't make him famous, but it proved he was ready for bigger work. However, 1978 to 1979 remained difficult. The BBC rejected him repeatedly, saying they didn't understand his humor. Rowan became discouraged, even depressed. His stutter worsened during interviews and auditions, adding pressure, and he briefly considered quitting comedy to return to engineering. Then came a key discovery. His stutter vanished whenever he played a character. This changed everything. He no longer needed perfect speech as Rowan. His characters could speak for him. He continued performing with his Oxford friends, including Angus Deaton, who often played the straight man while Rowan brought the unpredictable comedy.
He's dead?
Yes, he's lying up there in sick bay now, stiff as a board and bright green. And this is, I fear, typical of his current attitude.
Angus would later join him in Mr. Bean and Blackadder. Their partnership helped Rowan grow while TV executives were still unsure about him. In 1979, he returned to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival at age 24. He helped build the new Wireworks Theatre by clearing rubble before performing. His act relied on silent physical comedy inspired by Buster Keaton. Some audience members walked out, but others immediately recognized his unique talent. His precise facial expressions and physical timing caught the attention of industry insiders. By 1980, Rowan tried television again. His pilot Canned Laughter had aired in 1979, featuring him in several roles, including an early form of Mr. Bean. Although it wasn't picked up, he continued refining his craft. His stutter still returned during auditions, but he learned to control it by disappearing into character. His appearance on Wogan in 1980 at age 25 marked a turning point. He had almost fully learned to hide the stutter on stage, and audiences finally noticed the quiet young man capable of turning hardship into comedy. That same year, the BBC offered him a major opportunity with Not the 9 O'Clock News. Originally set to air in April 1979, it was delayed by the general election and finally broadcast on October 16, 1979. It was a disaster. Fewer than 1 million watched, and critics trashed it. Mel Smith even called it the worst half hour of TV he had ever seen. But the BBC controller saw potential and ordered a second series. That choice saved the show and helped make it one of the most influential comedy programs in Britain. Rowan worked with Pamela Stephenson, Mel Smith, and Griff Rhys-Jones, and their popularity grew quickly. But backstage tensions rose. After the first series in 1980, Chris Langham was fired. Rowan disagreed and tried to keep him, but Chris was replaced by Griff Rhys-Jones. The fallout was so deep that Chris didn't speak to the cast for years. Comedy pressure meets perfectionism. As Not the 9 O'Clock News continued, the BBC began cutting the show's budget. The problem became so obvious that the team joked about it in an episode titled The Outrageously Expensive Not the 9 O'Clock News. Filming in premium locations stopped, minor roles were removed, and tension behind the scenes grew. During this period, Rowan's strict, perfectionist side became more visible, and the show's humor shifted from shock-based jokes to sharper, stranger sketches. Quiet, creative disagreements started building. Then came the sketch that changed Rowan's direction. In 1980, during the second series, Gerald the Gorilla aired. Mel Smith played a professor who claimed he had trained a gorilla, but Gerald, played by Rowan, was far smarter and much angrier. When the professor said Gerald had been caught in the wild in 1968, Gerald snapped back with the now iconic line, "Wild, I was absolutely livid." The sketch exploded in popularity. Scientists jokingly began calling groups of baboons a flange. The episode won the Silver Rose at the 1982 Montreux Festival, and later the BAFTA for Best Light Entertainment Program. This moment showcased Rowan's talent for odd physical comedy and helped lay the foundation for Blackadder and Mr. Bean. In 1981, the cast released the comedy song I Like Trucking on the album Hedgehog Sandwich. It became an unexpected hit. Rowan, despite no musical background, sang with the group, and viewers loved that he actually drove the truck using his real Class 1 lorry license. Released by BBC Records, the single stayed popular and appeared on later compilations, proving Rowan could shift between sketch work, music, and physical performance with ease. By 1982, however, the cast was worn out. The show ended in March, not because of poor ratings, but because the constant pressure, writing load, and backstage anxiety pushed everyone to their limit. Rowan, already dealing with anxiety, came close to burnout. Instead of pushing on for fame or money, they all walked away. Pamela Stephenson headed to Hollywood. Rowan moved into Blackadder in 1983. And Mel Smith and Griff Rhys-Jones created Alice Smith and Jones. Leaving at their peak showed Rowan's desire for balance and creative control, the golden age of Blackadder. On June 15, 1983, the Blackadder premiered.
At last, I can relax. Who the hell is this?
Well,
Rowan and Richard Curtis imagined an alternate history where Richard III won at Bosworth Field. Rowan played Prince Edmund, filmed at Alnwick Castle with huge sets and elaborate costumes. It was expensive and partly funded by Australia's Seven Network, even joking with the credit, additional dialogue by William Shakespeare.
you must be pretty impressed having Squadron Commander the Lord Flashheart drop in on your squalid bit of line.
Actually, no. I was more impressed by the contents of my handkerchief the last time I blew my nose.
Costs nearly ended the show. Rain delays, big casts, and long shoots pushed the budget too high. Reviews were mixed. What saved it was winning an international Emmy, which convinced the BBC to renew it under strict new rules. No castles, no giant sets. In 1986, Blackadder 2 arrived, and the entire show shifted. Ben Elton joined as co-writer, bringing quicker punchlines and tighter scripts. The large outdoor shoots were dropped, and the focus moved to character-driven scenes. With this change, Rowan no longer shared the stage with big personalities like Brian Blessed. He now led the series. One major update was the cast. Miranda Richardson played Queenie, a sharp and hilarious monarch who became an instant favorite. The show also featured memorable guest spots, including Tom Baker as the wild Redbeard Rum. Rowan's Edmund grew sharper and more sarcastic, while Baldric, once clever, became the clueless but lovable sidekick fans still quote today. Some viewers didn't like the shift at first. A critic even called Rowan Wally of the Week. But the reaction changed quickly. The final season, Blackadder Goes Forth, aired in 1989 and delivered something no one expected. Set in the trenches of World War I, it mixed humor with the grim reality of war. Rowan played Captain Blackadder, joined by Hugh Laurie as Lieutenant George and Tony Robinson as Private Baldric. Many feared jokes about World War I would seem disrespectful, but the series handled the tone with care and depth. It became one of the most powerful seasons in British TV history. The show won Best Comedy Series at the 1990 BAFTAs, and Rowan earned Best Light Entertainment Performance. In 2000, it ranked 16th on the British Film Institute's list of top British shows. And in 2004, it placed second in a BBC poll for the nation's greatest sitcom, collecting more than 282,000 votes. The final scene, where the soldiers run into no man's land in slow motion, became one of TV's most emotional closing moments. Behind the camera, the cast worked like a tight group. Rowan, Hugh Laurie, and Stephen Fry often improvised, trusting each other completely. Rowan later said it was the least stressful project of his career because the pressure wasn't just on him. Many improvised lines ended up in the episodes. He also said the group had something in the 1980s that couldn't be recreated. It was a rare moment in time. The pain behind Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean debuted on January 1st, 1990. drawing 13.45 million viewers to its first episode. Rowan had created the character back at Oxford, and because Bean rarely spoke, the show crossed every language barrier. It aired in 245 countries, and the episode The Trouble with Mr. Bean reached 18.74 million viewers, making the series one of the most successful comedies worldwide. His physical humor spoke for itself. But behind the laughs was a very different reality. Rowan later admitted he didn't enjoy playing Mr. Bean. The role required total concentration and left him mentally and physically drained. With almost no dialogue to rely on, every moment depended on precise expressions and movement. What looked simple on screen took a real toll on him. In 1997, Bean hit theaters and made over $251 million worldwide, including more than $25 million internationally. It opened at number 1 in Australia, with $3.1 million, broke UK opening records with $2.5 million, and earned over 12 million Deutsche Marks during its first weekend in Germany. It became the fastest UK film to reach $100 million, even before releasing in the US. Yet this huge success only increased Rowan's burnout. The more popular Bean became, the harder it was for him to continue.
What's fun about it is it's an escape. You know, when you play the character, you don't care what you do. It's a weird kind of release.
A major turning point came in 2002 with Mr. Bean, the animated series, which aired from March 2nd to November 1st, 2004, producing 52 episodes. This format was easier on Rowan. He only had to provide Bean's voice. The show became a hit with children, moved to CITV, added new characters, and kept the original spirit alive. By 2024, the animated series was still being made. Beyond Bean, Rowan kept proving his range. In 1994, he played the awkward priest in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, shot in 6 weeks on a $3 million budget. The film earned $245.7 million, and his fumbling wedding scene became iconic. In 2003, he starred in Johnny English, inspired by his Barclaycard ads. It made $160 million on a $40 million budget, leading to Johnny English Reborn, 2011, which earned just $8.3 million in the US but performed well overseas, and Johnny English Strikes Again, 2018, blending classic spy humor with modern cyber threats, a theme Rowan understood due to his engineering background. He also ventured into darker comedy with Keeping Mum, 2005, playing a troubled pastor. The film struggled with critics and audiences, prompting Rowan to take a 2-year break from movies before returning strong with Johnny English Reborn. Love, marriage, and heartbreak. Rowan Atkinson met Sunetra Sastry in the late 1980s when she worked as a makeup artist on Blackadder. He even switched makeup artists just to talk to her. Stephen Fry later admitted he was quietly disappointed, since he had hoped to ask her out as well, but Rowan reached her first. Rowan and Sunetra married on February 5, 1990, at the Russian Tea Room in New York, with Fry as best man. They had 2 children, Lily, 1993, and Benjamin, 1995, and stayed together for 24 years. Their marriage ended in 2014, and the divorce was finalized in November 2015. In court, Sunetra said Rowan had been behaving unreasonably. During this period, Rowan had quietly begun a relationship with actress Louise Ford, who was significantly younger. The media reacted intensely, and reports said Sunetra was devastated by how quickly she had been replaced. One of the most dramatic events in Rowan's life occurred earlier, in March 2001. While flying with his family in Kenya, their private pilot fainted in midair. Rowan, who had never flown a plane, grabbed the controls and kept the aircraft steady until the pilot regained consciousness and landed safely in Nairobi. Rowan was 46 at the time. For someone known for clumsy characters, his calm response surprised many. In October 2012, Rowan gave a speech in Parliament defending free expression. He argued that people should still be allowed to speak even if others find their words insulting, saying that too many things were being labeled offensive. The speech went viral, gaining over 140,000 views in a few days. Some LGBTQ+ groups and activists accused him of protecting hate speech, but the legal outcome removed the section of the Public Order Act that criminalized insulting words. In 2013, while performing in the play Quartermain's Terms, Rowan began a relationship with his co-star, Louise Ford. He was 58, she was 31, and she left her partner, comedian James Acaster, to be with Rowan. Their 27-year age gap became a major headline, and when the relationship became public in 2014, it overlapped with Rowan's separation from Sinatra. The backlash was intense, but Rowan stayed silent. He once said, "The only thing more important than not talking about your personal life is not talking about why you're not talking about it." In December 2017, Louise gave birth to their daughter, Isela, making Rowan a father again at age 62. Controversy, comebacks, and creative strain. For decades, Rowan was viewed as a supporter of environmental causes. Since the 1980s, he had driven electric and hybrid cars and spoken publicly about climate issues. But in June 2023, he wrote a Guardian article that surprised nearly everyone. The piece was titled, "I love electric vehicles and was an early adopter, but increasingly I feel duped." In it, he argued that electric cars produce 70% more greenhouse gas emissions during manufacturing than traditional cars and criticized the batteries used in EVs. The article spread quickly through conservative outlets like Fox Business. Many environmental scientists pushed back, saying his claims were misleading. Soon after, reports surfaced, showing Rowan owned a large private collection of high-end supercars, including rare McLarens and Aston Martins. Members of Parliament even suggested his article contributed to slowing UK EV sales. Critics said he was supporting fossil fuel interests while maintaining a high-carbon lifestyle himself. Back in 1994, Disney had offered him the voice of Zazu in The Lion King. Rowan didn't want the role at first, saying he had never enjoyed voice acting. He accepted anyway, and his delivery became one of the film's standout elements. The movie made $968.5 million worldwide, becoming Disney's highest-grossing hand-drawn feature. Even though he didn't perform the songs, his version of Zazu became iconic. He did not return for the 2019 remake, which still earned $1.6 billion, and many fans felt his absence. In 2018, Rowan appeared on The Graham Norton Show and confessed to something that surprised viewers. He said filming projects often left him drained and unhappy, and that he struggled with feeling like his work was never good enough. Back in 2012, he told The Telegraph he wanted to retire Mr. Bean because watching someone in their 50s behave like a child could feel a little sad. By 2016, he changed course and said he would never retire the character. Then in 2018, he shifted again, saying Mr. Bean was unlikely to return, but added, "You must never say never." Fans were confused, but it showed how emotionally complicated the role had become for him. Mr. Bean brought joy to millions, but for Rowan, it often came with exhaustion and burnout. In 2022, he took on a new physical comedy project, Man vs. Bee on Netflix. He played Trevor, a house sitter fighting a single bee across 9 episodes lasting 10 to 20 minutes each. It looked playful on screen, but the shoot was difficult. Rowan was 67 and performing stunts similar to his Mr. Bean days. He once said that even a simple bike scene in Mr. Bean's Holiday left him completely exhausted. He admitted he had never been athletic. Man vs. Bee let him revisit his classic style, but it was also a clear reminder that his body could no longer handle the same demands. Mr. Bean's legacy grows on. Rowan Atkinson turned 70 on January 6, 2025, after more than 45 years of making audiences laugh. His birthday sparked a wave of online tributes. Fans shared favorite scenes, while others wondered if he might finally slow down. Rowan had admitted that physical comedy becomes harder with age, and he now seemed more open to stepping back. Some felt it might be time to let Mr. Bean rest. By September 2025, the official Mr. Bean YouTube channel had passed 12.011 billion views and reached 35.1 million subscribers. It earned an estimated $77,000 to $232,000 per month, averaging 1.5 to 2.3 million views each day. His fans were everywhere: Tokyo, Mumbai, São Paulo. Comedians like Sacha Baron Cohen credited Mr. Bean as an influence, and acting schools began teaching the Atkinson method, a visual style that worked across any language. Many even called Rowan the 21st century Charlie Chaplin, lifting him from local star to global icon. In September 2024, a long-running fan theory was finally confirmed. Mr. Bean was an alien. The animated episode Double Trouble showed Bean meeting clones of himself aboard a spaceship. Screen Rant noted that the episode officially presented him as not from Earth. The original series had hinted at this. Bean falls from the sky while a Latin chant plays, "Behold the man who is a bean." Even his single name, Mr., suggested an outsider guessing how humans name themselves. Rowan had briefly hinted at this idea back in 1993. Despite his self-doubt, Rowan's award record speaks for itself. 12 major wins and 18 nominations, including a 1981 BAFTA, a Laurence Olivier Award, a 1990 BAFTA for Blackadder Goes Forth, 4 BAFTA nominations for Mr. Bean, and an International Emmy.
You know, we were saying today that you are these iconic characters, but we don't really know much about you. Who are you?
No,
How do you're an international man of intrigue.
Yes, exactly.
No, like, what are your hobbies and likes and...
Yeah, I tend to keep myself to myself a lot. I'm not on social media in any shape or form. I prefer to keep all my activities of a personal level.
Even with all this, Rowan often says he doesn't feel successful and continues to question himself. But to millions around the world, there is no debate. He remains one of the greatest comedic performers of his time. So now that you've heard the full story, what do you think Mr. Bean finally confirmed at 70? Do you agree with his decision, or does it change the way you see him? Comment your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your take. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more stories like this, and don't forget to click one of the videos on your screen to keep watching.